We are coming to you live from Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. The red-hot BTN CLS Knights Indonesia take their 4-game winning streak against the Wolf Warriors in the 9th season of the ASEAN Basketball League Rise to Greatness. My name is Yoyo Sarmenta, and with me Marco Benitez. And Marco, the big question, can the Knights keep it going, or will the Wolf Warriors get the upset?
Good evening to everybody watching, and that is something that we are excited to watch here at the BTN CLS Knights, as you mentioned, on a 4-game winning streak, looking for their 5th straight win. And they have been so far unbeatable here at home. Only one loss in the past few games, one loss in their past 5 games, looking to extend that winning streak, especially in their homestand. Of course, their last defeat was against this very same team back in December, the Wolf Warriors. That was in Zhuhai, Dome Gymnasium in Zhuhai, China. So they will like to seek retribution here, especially on their home floor.
As Marco mentioned, the Knights have certainly been unbeatable in the last 4 games, 1 on the road and 3 at home. And these two teams have changed a lot since their last meeting, Marco.
And you know what has been impressive for the Knights here at home is that their average winning margin the past 4 games is about 24 points per game. And as you mentioned, in their last loss against the Wolf Warriors, they still had Monte Brander, they still had Stephen Hurt. But from that loss, they added Douglas Herring and Daryl Watkins. So that has vastly improved their game, and they're one of the best, actually the second best 3-point shooting team in the league right now. And teams who have played here in Gor Kertajaya have really experienced a big drop in their shooting percentage, especially from outside.
As we take a look at the previous game here in Gor Kertajaya, where the Knights won 89-74 against the Singapore Slingers.
In that last game, they really put the clamps against Xavier Alexander, limited him in terms of points, especially in that first quarter, or that first half rather. While for the Zhuhai Wolf Warriors, they had a big defeat against the Macau Black Bears. The Black Bears outscored them, I believe it was 65-36 in that entire first half, and the game was pretty much over by then. In the previous meeting, this was the lone win, first and only win of the Wolf Warriors in Dome Gymnasium, 96-88. It was a nip and tuck affair. Big run by the Wolf Warriors in the first quarter, big run by the CLS Knights in the first quarter. That was a 29-15 run for them, answered by a 29-16 run on the other hand by the Wolf Warriors in the second quarter, and it was a nip and tuck affair. Wolf Warriors able to get that victory there in China.
So the big changes for the Knights, of course, Douglas Herring and Daryl Watkins. But for the Wolf Warriors, they also have a new import. Shontes Patterson made his ABL debut in the previous game. And what can you talk about his game?
Well, Patterson stands at about 6'7", plays that swingman position. They expect him also to play that forward position. Mike Taylor also was not able to play in their previous game, nursing a knee injury. Patterson about 20 points in that game, 9 rebounds. So hopefully he will be able to gel well with this team, especially against a Knights team that has, as we have seen so far, is their chemistry has been much improved, and they are being led at the point guard spot by Wong Wei Long, 2-time local MVP. Right now, the ABL three-point record holder, had 18 points in the last game, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, and that last one got him that record, which was previously held by Leo Avedido.
Wong Wei Long went berserk against his former team, no less. And here is that triple that got him the record. Beautiful play there. What a pass from Douglas Herring. Wong Wei Long has certainly been playing great basketball.
And actually, we were looking at his numbers for the past few years. He has actually outscored his point average from his MVP seasons. I believe that was in 2014, 2015. So he is playing his best basketball right now with the CLS Knights, talking about Wong Wei Long.
An interesting tidbit for the CLS Knight point guard Wong Wei Long. He needs 25 more points to surpass Tyler Lamb in 7th place for the all-time ABL scoring list. Imagine that. So Wong Wei Long, 8-year veteran in the league, starting point guard for the Knights. And a lot of huge costs for the Knights is, of course, their imports. Maxi Esho. Let's look at the matchup versus Mike Bell.
Well, Maxi Escher has been one of the most consistent imports we've seen here in the ASEAN Basketball League. You see his numbers, he can potentially have a triple-double on every given night. 23 points, 9 rebounds. He can score from the outside. He can also score from the inside. Loves to drive, as that amazing length allows him to finish strong in transition. Of course, Mike Bell, a knockdown perimeter shooter, can also hit the 3-ball. But I would like to see him become more consistent and more aggressive, especially offensively, because at times Chai Chen has been the best offensive weapon of the Wolf Warriors, and that should not be the case. They need their imports Mike Taylor as well as Mike Bell to really step up. And right now, as they have replaced Eddie Curry, Patterson also has to be very aggressive and really impose his will offensively in particular.
Talking about Chai Chen, I believe he was the leading scorer in their first and only win. He had 25 points in the win over Indonesia. And in the last game, actually, versus Macau, the trio of Chai Chen, Chris Shentu, and Jening Leung, they had pretty good numbers. And as you mentioned, the only thing lacking for the team from China is their imports.
Well, for the CLS Knights or the BTN CLS Knights, that is not a problem. Balanced scoring has been the norm for them in their wins. The past 4 games, almost all 5 starters score in double figures. But for the Wolf Warriors, in their last victory against the CLS Knights, only 2 or 3 players scored in double figures. So they're going to need, as you mentioned, their supporting cast, Chris Shentu, Jening Leung, to really step up and provide the scoring, especially in Gorkert Jaya, where we all know scoring and shooting is very hard to come by.
And we are just about to start here in Gorkert Jaya. The starting lineup's about to be announced.
Jersey number 1 for Wolf Warriors, Xu Ya. Jersey number 2, Yi Wei Shentu. Jersey number 4, Jenny Lu. Jersey number 12, Shin Chun Sen. Jersey number 21, Xu Yu. Number 23, Shen Chan. 32, Le Feng Shun. 33, Jun Li. 67, Xian Xiaozhou. And Mike Taylor. And then 42, Pete Peterson. Sound dance with good man skill. And now, Surabaya, are you ready? This is your BTN CLS Indonesia. Number 9, Sandi Pemirsa Mulia. Number 10, Rama Devi
body up, move your body up, shake your body up, move your body up, shake your body up, move your body up, shake your body up, shake your body up, move your body up, shake your body up, move your body up, shake your body up, move your body up. Wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind this up. Wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, car you want this up. Wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind this up. Wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, car you want this up.
Number 3, give it up for Brandon Tawado.
What is it?
And last but not least, number 18, Maxi Asho. And give it up for your coach, Ryan Rossum, with your assistant coach, Coach Coco Heru Setio Nugroho.
Baik, kita akan bersama-sama menyanyikan lagu kebangsaan Indonesia Raya. Kita mengundang seluruh pengunjung yang berada di Gor Kertajaya untuk berdiri.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya.
melawan Wolf Warriors.
And now the referee in charge, Paul Sengo from Singapore, with the umpire 1, Chit Chanok Sri Sawat from Thailand, and second umpire, Rikor Buaron from Philippines.
And the commissioner, Ibnu Susilo from Indonesia.
2 minutes before tip-off.
Welcome back to Gor Kertajaya. Here's our man down the call and my partner Marco Benitez. As two teams are just about to get ready here in Indonesia.
And before we start, just want to mention that we are witnessing a surging BTN CLS Knights team, one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Currently with a 4-game winning streak. The only other team with a 4-game winning streak is the Saigon Heat. But when they win here, the Knights can actually bring themselves just a half a game behind 5th spot, which is currently occupied by the Singapore Slingers and the Macau Black Bears at 7 and 6. Right, the Knights right now at 6 and 7. Meanwhile, for the Wolf Warriors at 1 and 12, mathematically still possible for them to get into the postseason because we get the top 8 teams to go to the quarterfinal round. And above them is the Mono Vampire squad with a sporting a 2 and 11 record, and the West Sports Malaysia Dragons with a 5 and 6 record. So with still 13 games left in their regular season, it is still very much mathematically possible for them. But time is running out and they really have to turn things around. And I believe the Wolf Warriors fans are hoping that it starts tonight.
They have a tall task ahead of them. As we mentioned, 4-game winning streak for the Knights. The Warriors, though, they have an ace in their cards. They got their only win against the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. So they're hoping for a repeat of that success.
If they're looking for a confident boost, then this might be it for them. As you mentioned, their only win so far coming against this very same squad, although with slightly different personnel and playing much better basketball. Wolf Warriors, meantime, have already replaced the three imports that were present during that game last December. Talking about Eric Tisby, also Eddie Curry. They've replaced them with Mike Taylor and Chontez Patterson. Although Mike Bell seems to not be in the bench of the Wolf Warriors, so he might not be seeing action tonight, as we did not see him in the starting lineup.
So we'll check on Mike Bell a little bit later on, but hopefully Patterson and Taylor will be enough to topple the mighty Knights. You know, the Knights, they've already surpassed their win total from last season, so that's already a positive sign for them. And if you're the Wolf Warriors, you kind of want to replicate that, or at least follow that footsteps, being the expansion team that you are.
That is correct, and if you want to follow the footsteps, especially as well of the Formosa Dreamers, coming from a 1-19 record last season, right now among the top of the heap, then this is where you need to start. So no Mike Bell in the starting lineup for the Wolf Warriors, and as we mentioned, Mike Taylor also coming from a knee injury. So very crucial is how the Wolf Warriors will start, especially in a very ruckus Gorkurta Jaya arena. So we know this is one of the most hostile environments, or having one of the most passionate fan bases in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Here we go, right about to start here in Gorkurta Jaya, the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia and the Wolf Warriors.
And you know, personally, some keys for me for the Wolf Warriors, they have to stop the perimeter or defend the perimeter well, especially with this 2-point guard setup of Doug Herring and Wong Wei Long. Have to minimize their turnovers, and they have to protect inside the paint. And as we start, Daryl Watkins already with the first 2 points inside the paint for the Knights.
That was fast for the Knights.
Immediately trying to exploit the absence of Eddie Curry, who is no longer with the Wolf Warriors. Daryl Watkins looks to have a heyday here against Chai Chen, and number 32 for the Wolf Warriors, Soon He Feng.
So 3-0, very early, just a couple of seconds off the game clock.
While for the Knights, keys for them is perimeter defense, especially against Mike Taylor, who knocks down his first three-pointer of the game.
So we are up and running here in Gorkurta Jaya. Jawato raise the three.
Jawato loves that corner triple. He has done well to really position himself there. Every time Doug Herring makes that penetration, and we know Doug Herring, averaging close to 10 assists per ball game, will look for his teammates whenever possible.
So here in the early goings, the Knights 6, Warriors 5. Both teams trading buckets very fast. Jawato flashes inside. Layup is good.
That's going to be available to Jawato all evening long. He's matched up against the slower and heftier Chai Chen.
You know, in the past couple of games, Jawato has been exploiting whoever it is in front of him. His position has really been a plus for the Knights.
Because of the length of the Knights, you're talking about a Maxi Escher who can play either the 4 or the 3. And then you have Daryl Watkins who plays the 5 spot. Jawato has an advantage against the other swingmen who play the 2 or the 3 spot, and he has taken advantage of that. In the previous game, he took advantage of his quickness against Delvin Go, really got to the basket. Right now, he's trying to take advantage of his matchup against Chai Chen.
Watkins, first time J, that's good.
And Soon He Feng has to move his feet. He has to challenge Daryl Watkins, or else he's really going to pound it inside.
Chai thinks about himself. Wild shot, no good. Jawato on the break, sees an opening, up and in.
One of the most athletic and long wingmen we have here in the league. Jawato very aggressive to start this ball game out.
Ball will go back to the Knights. Jawato, 6'3", coming out of University of Hawaii. This is his first year in the ABL.
Impressive start for the Knights so far, 12-5, and they're scoring buckets in transition on every miss of the Wolf Warriors.
Roughly 2 minutes have passed here in the opening quarter. Wong Wei Long surveys the floor. Esho drives. Layup. Goes short. Watkins is there.
Look at the penetration of Maxi Esho. Defense is forced to help. Nobody there to box out Watkins for the putback.
14-5 for the Knights.
7 good points for Dada Watkins.
Taylor from deep. That is short. Rebound goes through the Wolf Warriors.
Right idea there from Soon He Feng, but just not able to execute. And this is a guy who does not normally see a lot of action for the Wolf Warriors. Only averages about has only played in 4 games, averaging about 6 minutes per contest.
The Wolf Warriors need his big body down low against Watkins and Esho. That's for sure.
And the Knights right now still perfect from the field. 6 of the 14 points in the paint.
Herring against Taylor. They go to Watkins once again.
That's a nice double team there coming from Mike Taylor. They know that Watkins is trying to exploit that mismatch against Soon He Feng.
So very early on, the Knights are going inside to Watkins.
And this is one of the things here that we've noticed in their past 4-game winning streak. They're very deliberate. 5 on the floor. They do not turn the ball over at a high rate. They only average about 10 to 12 turnovers per ball game.
A step back 3, no good.
And you see the difficulty of the bigs of the Wolf Warriors matching up against the 7-foot Darryl Watkins. That time it was Sun and Patterson against Watkins inside.
Herring. Wong Wei Long. They swing it over to the other side. Jawato. 5 on the shot clock. Watkins. Here's Herring from the corner.
How about the patience there of the Knights, just moving the ball around from left to right. And then the corner triple once again available, this time for Douglas Herring.
It's a 12-point lead early in the first. The Knights are running Wong Wei Long. Oh, beautiful play! What a play!
And that's another pair of fast break points. Maxi Esho with the emphatic slam.
Passing, the decision making, the finish. The Knights are clicking on all cylinders. They take a 19-5 lead here in the opening quarter. Welcome back to the action. It's 19-5, 6 and 15 remaining in the first. The Knights are running. They're attacking with a purpose. And on that last play, beautiful teamwork displayed by the home team.
And what you love about Doug Herring is that he's so unselfish that time. Could have taken a 3-point shot because he had previously hit just on the previous possession, but instead finds the streaking Maxi Esho for the jam. For the Wolf Warriors, I think priority is to take care of the basketball. Already with 3 turnovers in the game, they cannot continue to turn over at this type of a rate because the Knights will capitalize.
Taylor, he has all of the 7 points for the visiting team.
And he finds himself in a battle here against Doug Herring.
Wong Wei Long. See the Knights looking for that corner triple. One more.
Maxi Esho so dangerous from that distance. This guy shoots it at about 42% from that range.
Taylor to the hoop again.
And it has been all Mike Taylor here for the Wolf Warriors, just trying to keep his team within striking distance.
Herring, wild shot, gets his own miss.
And just a lackluster effort inside for the Wolf Warriors.
That's a foul on Max Esho on Sun Hefeng.
And it's been all a one-on-one basketball for the Wolf Warriors. That time, Chai Chen just taking matters into his own hands, driving to the right, drawing the foul against Maxi Esho. They're going to have to play more team basketball if they want to defeat the Knights, who are playing excellent team basketball. They're number 2 in the league right now in terms of assists, averaging about 21 assists per game.
The averages of the Knights really took a surge in the past 4
That's
games.
Right. They're actually third in the league. Check that, in assists at about 21.4 per ball game.
Herring sets the table. Pick and roll with Watkins. They go to Wong Wei Long. Triple. Good!
And if I'm not mistaken, a few nights ago, this CLS Knights team already set the record in terms of number of three-pointers hit in a game. I believe that was 22, right, yo?
Yeah, 22. We called that game.
Yeah.
And the Knights are looking for a repeat. Here are they running again. Wong Wei Long spinning his way. Herring to the basket. Jawato. Triple. Nope. There we go. Wong Wei Long. Dipsy-doo. Doesn't not go. Jawato from deep. Buries the three.
And when it rains, it pours here for the Knights. That's already triple. Number 5.
And when they hit that record 22, as we talk about Jawato, as I was saying, when they hit that 22 triple, they had 9.5.
And just no defense for the Wolf Warriors, just allowing the Knights to score in transition. That's a soft answer there from Chai Chen. 33-12, still with 3:49 remaining here in the first.
Jawato, shot clock down to 6. Herring for 3. Not good that time. As Patterson, here he comes. Patterson all the way, short. Jawato on the counter from deep. That one doesn't go. Watkins, powerful rebound. And Mike Taylor comes up with it.
That was a heat check there for Jawato.
Jennings. Ooh, sorry miss.
Those are probably not the type of shots that you want to take when you're down this big.
Jawato, open lane.
And Chai Chen and Sun Hefeng just looking at each other. Nobody down there inside the paint to defend that layup from Jawato.
The Knights putting on an offensive clinic here in Gor Kertajaya.
Brandon Jawato so far the leading scorer for the Knights with 14 of the 33 or 35 points.
Esho thought about the 3, takes it inside, and his foul going up.
And if the defense of the Wolf Warriors continues like this, it's going to be a short evening for the guys in green.
So the Wolf Warriors have 12. Brandon Jawato alone has 14. So that's the type of game right now.
He has single-handedly outscored the entire Wolf Warriors squad. And Coach Matt Skillman is disappointed to say the least with the defense that they've put up. Subs out Chai Chen, Jennings Leung.
Seems like the Wolf Warriors just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, really slow in getting the basketball. As Maxi Esho delivers the first free throw.
And you wonder whether this Surabaya weather is really causing their lackluster performance here in the first quarter. Or it's just that the Knights are playing superb basketball.
The Knights really love playing at home. And their 6 wins, 5 of them came from this very home floor.
And if you're the Wolf Warriors, you cannot rely on just outside shooting. As
This is Chris Shen too with the drive. Here comes Jawato to Herring. Layup. No go. Rebound again. Jawato falls and slips.
But again, you see the pressure being put on the defense of the Wolf Warriors. Every time they miss on their offensive end, the Knights are out and running and trying to score on a layup on their end of the floor. And I was saying, they cannot rely on outside jumpers because as we saw from the stats, 5 of the 7 teams that have played here at Gor Kurtajaya have seen their three-point shooting diminished by at least 5 to 10 percentage points, and that's a big number.
Shout out to our team and our ABL team in Manila. They provided that stat. So most of the teams are having difficulty here in Gor Kurtajaya.
Patterson with his first bucket of the game.
If you're Patterson, this is your second game, you're getting blown out. What do you need to do?
Well, you need to be very aggressive. But first of all, you need to play defense on your end of the floor. You cannot afford to trade baskets with the home squad. And on your end, you have to execute your offensive set and be aggressive going to the basket and try to draw some fouls from the big men of the Knights.
Patterson, crossover. Shen 2. Shot clock, running down to 5. Oh, that triple is good.
And they're going to give Jun Lee that shot all evening long.
The Wolf Warriors did not get anything from Chai Chen or Sun Hefeng. So they went to the bench with Lee Jun. Talk about bench performance. That is, I believe, Negroho. They love him here in Gor Kurtajaya.
Everybody getting into the scoring picture. But Lee Jun has to play better defense against Firman Negroho. That's too easy.
Every time Firman Negroho touches the basketball, you can hear the crowd really just grinning, just clapping their hands. Patterson, short 2, off the backboard and a miss.
And almost no second chance opportunities for the Wolf Warriors here in the first quarter.
A minute remaining as Esho delivers once again.
And that's almost a straight line to the basket for Maxi Esho. This team averages about 87 points per game. Right now they're already at 44 and we're still in the first quarter,
44 to 17. 40 seconds remaining.
Right now, Coach Brian Rosam pulling out Brandon Jawato, who has had a superb first quarter with 14 big points. Turniawan is in the ball game. Arif Hidayat is also in the game.
So the bench mob is here for the Knights, and their bench is no easy pickings.
Yeah. Very similar to San Miguel Alab, Pilipinas. They also have a respectable supporting cast composed of some former national team players here from Indonesia. As Coach Matt Skillman also removes Mike Taylor to end this first quarter.
Coming up on 33 seconds remaining here in the opening quarter as Negroho gets the layup to go.
We talk about chemistry. How about that nifty bounce pass there from Herring to Negroho?
About 5-second differential between game clock and shot clock. Here's Yan. That jumper is good.
That's a big shot for Yan. If he had missed that, there was nobody there for the rebound.
Last 10 seconds. Herring to the cup. And if that one went in, the crowd would have erupted once again.
And there's almost a gaping hole in the middle of the paint for the Wolf Warriors. Nobody there as a goaltender to really challenge the shots of the Knights. Knights already with 20 points inside the paint as compared to the Wolf Warriors with only 8.
Now we'll check the record for an ABL record. The Knights have been on the tear making records. We'll check what is the most number of points in a quarter.
And you talk about domination as well on the glass. It's a 15-2 advantage on the rebounding.
2 seconds. Desperation heave, no go. So that is it. A dominating first quarter for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. 48 points. And they limit the Wolf Warriors to 21. And that is how the first quarter ended. Back for more Heat and Gork with the Giant.
Saya mau tanya nih yang di court saya sebelah sini. Soalnya yang di atas jauh. Nih ada yang kembar, nih ada yang kembar. Kembar nonton basket. Saya kasih hadiah buat yang kembar. Asal bisa menjawab pertanyaan saya. Salah satu sponsor utama dari CLS Knights adalah BTN. Apa singkatan dari BTN? Maju, maju. Ini nih, kembar nih. Bantah bukan negara. Sedia payung sebelum hujan. Kembar, men. Ini buat siapa? Oke, buat Courtsiders lagi ya. Yang masuk di LED ekspresinya, Ren. Senyumnya yang manis dong. Sama siapa ya? Oke, yang di sini ya, yang bisa menjawab pertanyaan saya. Sebutkan salah satu produk dari tabungan Bank BTN. Ada yang tahu angkat tangan? Yang mana yang tahu? Ada yang tahu? Salah satu tabungan produk tabungan Bank BTN. Ada yang tahu angkat tangan? Apa? Nggak siap? Tunggu. Iya, betul siap.
Adik-adik kita ganti. Yes.
Kita pilih buat satu. Oke, quarter kedua kita mulai. Nanti lagi kita akan bagi hadiah.
Welcome back to Gorker Tajaya here in Surabaya, Indonesia. And it's a big lead for the home team, 48 to 21. Marco, what did you see in the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia?
Well, they started out very aggressive at both ends of the floor, really controlled the glass, dominated the glass, and then tried to attack in transition. They were led primarily with Brandon Jawado, who already has 14 points. He's averaging 14 points in the last 5 games. His career high in the ABL is 19 points, so he's just 5 points away, and we still have 3 quarters to go.
Herring from deep. That's good.
And that's just bad defense on the part of the Wolf Warriors, miscommunicating. Nobody there to pick up the ball handler. Easy pickings for Doug Herring.
And if you're the Wolf Warriors, any positives from that first 10 minutes of play?
Well, I think only positive is that Mike Taylor got himself going. He seems to be healthy after nursing that injury, but right now the Knights are just making it rain. Another open three-pointer from the corner.
Shades of that historic night nearly more than a week ago where the Knights hit 22 triples. They are making it rain here in Surabaya. That was Sandy Crunyawan, the dead shot for the Knights. Scramble from the Wolf Warriors. Patterson, still no go. They reset. Fires from deep, no go again. And the Knights take control of the rebound yet again.
And there you see that was only the first offensive rebound for the Wolf Warriors. Almost everything coming from the outside.
So turnover there.
And
One of the few turnovers.
Yeah, Doug Herring already with 7 assists, yo. This guy averages 10 assists per ball game, already with 7, and his teammates have been the beneficiaries of those passes.
And Douglas Herring actually, his career high in assists is 19. So he has the most number of assists from a world import alongside Anthony Tucker. And the overall record is held by Jason Brickman with 21.
Looks like some of the Knights are going to go for some records here tonight, especially with a 31-point advantage. But if you're the Knights, what you have to do is you keep your foot on the gas pedal.
So they have 54 points. Now, for our viewers watching all over Asia, when you check the score, nope, that is not a halftime score. That is not a third quarter score. We are early in the second. And finally, Chai Chen gets that one to go.
I believe that was only the first first pair of points. Oh, sorry, only the 5th point of Chai Chen. The Knights team only averages 84 points allowed for their opponents. That's going to be another turnover.
Hidayat tips. Oh, beautiful feed to Wong Wei Long.
And Knights just sharing the basketball very well. 14 assists already.
Taylor all the way to the hoop. That's good.
Yeah, should possibly got away with a foul there. Mike Taylor looking for the call.
Kurunyawan from the corner. And you hear the crowd there. Every time they launch a three, the crowd here just expects it to go down.
Sandy Kurunyawan, one of the best three-point shooters here in Indonesia.
He is a marksman from that corner.
Averages about 37% from downtown. And this Indonesia squad is really a solid three-point shooting team. You have your starting five. Estra averages about 42%. 41% for 43% rather for Jawato, 41 for Daryl Watkins. And the guy who shoots at least is Douglas Herring at 27%.
You know, Marco, for those our fans watching at home, just to give them an idea, what's a good percentage for your three-point shooter? When you say 40, that's very, very good.
That's very, very good because close to half of your attempts go in if you're shooting at about above 40%. If you're shooting about 30%, a third of your shots go in. So that's still respectable.
So talk about three-point shots. That one doesn't go for the Wolf Warriors. That was Zhong.
Indonesia as a team averages about 10 three-point makes per ball game. So they're almost there with 8.
Watkins, baseline J is good.
And that's just right over Chai Chen.
Patterson goes up. No foul called. Refs letting them play.
Well defended there by Watkins. He was the guy who made the basket on the other end. Able to get down on D and then deflect that shot or block that shot coming from Patterson.
Patterson, this is his second game in the ABL, coming out of Detroit, Michigan. 6'7", forward/center.
He has a vast international experience. I believe the last country he played in was in Norway prior to moving to, prior to coming here and playing in Asia.
Here is Patterson all the way for the jam, and you could hear the sigh of relief all around the court here. That was a very good jam from Patterson.
And let's see if that jump starts their offense. They're going to need all the motivation they can get.
Chai Chen loses the basketball to Esho.
Not really a wise move there, but turnover from Maxi Esho.
Chai Chen waiting on the wing. That triple is good.
So Chai Chen starting to hum here, looking for his offense.
Chai Chen can put it up. He averages about 18 a game. He scored only 10 the last game versus Macau. The Diet falls on the floor. They go to Watkins. Inside for 2.
And Watkins is just unstoppable inside the paint. 7 points for Daryl Watkins.
Patterson from deep. Now he's starting to feel it. Sean Tez Patterson.
And both teams just trading baskets. For the CLS Knights, that's okay for them if you're up this big.
You're up 25 points. Esho, direct traffic. They go to Watkins. Kanyawan drives in the middle. Well, that's not your shot if you're standing Kanyawan. So a lot of one-on-one plays from the Wolf Warriors.
Just trying to put up points in a hurry, but they're going to have to make stops on this end of the floor, even if they try to score in a hurry on their end.
Taylor stopped by Wong Wei Long, foul on that drive.
That's going to be the second personal foul on Wong Wei Long, and that's going to send Doug Herring back to the floor.
So we have a timeout, 4:43 remaining in the second, 60-35 for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia over the Wolf Warriors. Welcome back to Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. Yoyo Sarmento on the mic. My partner Marco Benitez. Marco, seems like we're in for another rout from the home team.
Well, so far, Wolf Warriors have still not been able to stop Indonesia on a consistent basis, although they've outscored the Knights 14-12 here in the second quarter. They're still down big, and it's the defense that's going to get them back into this game.
Now we talk about the Knights' hard shooting, their three-pointers, but what about their defense? They're really limiting their... Every time an opposing team visits them in their home floor, they just shut them down.
And they're getting steals like that.
Wong Wei Long, no look feed! Maxi Escher with the sledgehammer!
And the defense is absent on the side of the Wolf Warriors. Another easy jam for Maxi Escher.
Beautiful, beautiful feed. That was a no-look 3/4 of the court for Wong Wei Long.
And again, just one-on-one basketball on this end of the floor for the Wolf Warriors.
Esho sees the lane. They go to Jawato, to Wong Wei Long. Wong Wei Long sees Herring. Nice ball movement from the Knights. Everyone touching the basketball on that play.
It's just like shooting practice for the CLS Knights. Looks like Wolf Warriors have been deflated here in the first half.
The Knights putting on a passing clinic. They're making me say all the names. This starting five is really a starting five to be reckoned with. Talking about Wong Wei Long, Douglas Herring, Brandon Jawato, Maxi Esho, and then of course Daryl Watkins. This is a very, very strong starting five.
And this starting five actually can contend with the best that the league has to offer.
So we just got confirmation from our ABL team. 48 points is indeed the record, most points in a quarter. So the Knights are not done setting records.
And again, it's one and done on their end.
From another triple for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. That one's from Wong Wei Long.
That's the ninth of the game for the Knights, and for Wong Wei Long, that's his second triple, so 217 total.
Patterson knocks that one. Still a huge lead for the Knights, 67-38. Less than 3 minutes remaining. Watkins to Jawato. Layup. That's good.
Open driving lane for Brandon Jawato after beating the initial defender. Nobody there to challenge that shot.
Patterson trying to use his quickness. Step back. Oh, that was read by Douglas Herring. Jawato all the way with a little show mode from Brandon Jawato.
Leading scorer right now for the CLS Knights. And with that, he has tied his career high here in the ABL with 19.
They go to Patterson once again. Patterson, you can sense that he wants to get it going. Tries a long heave, no go.
You see all five players from the Wolf Warriors almost outside the three-point line. So nobody there to even challenge for the rebound.
They go underneath to Watkins. Layup, that's good also.
Yeah, Watkins just imposing his will against Chai Chen.
Everything working for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. They take a 73-38 lead. A minute and 44 seconds remaining in the second quarter. We'll be back. Right now, the scoreboard reads 73-38, and the 73 points right now is the most points scored by an ABL team in the first half. They had 48 at the opening quarter. They have 70 right now.
There's an amazing offensive display here for the BTN CLS Knights. And they're just clicking on all cylinders. Almost all starters, 4 of the 5 starters already in double figures. And only Wong Wei Long is in single digits, but already has 8 points in the game. And as a team, they already have amassed 20 assists.
That's a lot. So the 73 points, they can go at this rate. They can go for take a crack at Alab Pilipinas' record of 143. That is the ABL record.
If I'm not mistaken, that was set last year.
2018. That's right.
That was memory serves me right, that was an overtime win against Mono Vampire in Thailand. So CLS Knights looking to be at pace to reach that.
Mike Taylor knocks down the first. You can sense the aggressiveness from Mike Taylor, from Chantes Patterson, from Chai Chen. They really want to get it going. But the defense of the Knights really shutting them down.
And they're also not getting any help from the supporting cast, whether it's offensively or defensively.
Minute and a half remaining. Jawato is fouled while taking a layup.
And again, another strong drive from Brandon Jawato. Nobody there to help out Patterson as the last line of defense. 36 points in the paint for the Knights compared to 12 for the Wolf Warriors.
So 36 points in the paint, and Wolf Warriors have a total of 39. That's not good if you're the Wolf Warriors.
And you know, in terms of fast break points, it's also a 16-2 advantage for the home squad. So dominating almost every major stat category are the Knights.
So a foul on that rebound. I believe it will go against Liu.
Or
He's the one completing.
Looks like it was a free throw violation.
Jawato will get a do-over. Jawato knocks that one.
This is already a career high for Brandon Jawato. 20 points for him.
So a minute and a half remaining. Wolf Warriors need to get something going here. Taylor, stop and pop. Jumper no good. Herring. Left alone from deep. Watkins, rebound. Ball taken away.
Good steal there from Patterson.
Taylor takes it upon himself. Nope, this is out last second. 3-ball is good.
That's a good shot there. Let's see if that can get Sun Hefeng going. 33-point lead
Whistle
for the
on the
Knights.
floor.
Yeah. Looks like there's a wet spot. So with about a minute remaining here in the first half, let's just see if they can end the half on a positive note with a stop and a basket on their end of the floor, and then hopefully they can come out strong in the third quarter and try to outscore Knights and prevent them from having an offensive onslaught once again, and just try to get the lead within 20 points by the end of the third quarter.
That was Matt Skillman, the head coach of the Wolf Warriors. Shot clock reads 17. Knights reset. Hidayat will inbound. Jawato will try to use his speed once again. Pass inside. Flips it over to Watkins. Turnover? Nope. The ball will stay with the Knights.
And they're going to have 7 seconds left on the clock, and Mike Taylor has to be careful here.
And you're down big. You gotta choose your spots when to talk to the refs. Jawato from deep. That is short. Try Chen rebound. Taylor on the break. Layup. That's short also, but Patterson is there.
That's a good follow there from Patterson. One of the few second chance points that they've gotten here in the first half.
It's about a 3-second differential between game clock and shot clock.
So that shot by Jawato actually got them a 2-for-1.
They want the ball with their main facilitator, Douglas Herring. Herring. Double team. Hidayat from deep. That one doesn't go. A second remaining. Taylor. Heave. Oh, nearly went in. But luck is not on the side of the Wolf Warriors. It's a 75-44 lead. 75 points, the most scored by an ABL team in the first half.
And I'm sure for the Wolf Warriors that that half could not have ended soon enough. Just a terrific offensive output from the Knights, and I'm for sure there's going to be a lot of fireworks in that locker room of the Wolf Warriors coming from Coach Matt Skillman.
75-44 will be back here in Gor Kertajaya.
Langsung aja menuju ke merchandise outlet dari CLS
Welcome back to Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. The red hot BTN CLS Knights Indonesia have remained hot. It's a 75-44 advantage for the home team. And it's been that kind of a game. Huge lead for the home team.
And again, an impressive first half for the BTN CLS Knights, especially that first quarter where they exploded for 48 points and then limited the Wolf Warriors to just 21 points. In that second quarter, it's actually a more respectable offensive output for the Wolf Warriors with 23 points. But again, their defense failing them, allowing 27 points for the CLS Knights. So if the Wolf Warriors want to get back into this and make a game out of this, it's going to have to start on the defensive end. They cannot allow the Knights to continue to score inside the paint, to continue to outrun them and score in transition, and to continue to hit three-pointers almost at will. Knights right now shooting 9 of 17, so that's better than 52% from long distance, while the Wolf Warriors are shooting 6 out of 18 for 33%. And Max Yesho, 4 of the 5 starters for the Knights have already scored in double figures.
So last January 13, nearly 2 weeks ago, the Knights set a record for the most number of threes made by an ABL team at 22. Last Sunday, Wong Wei Long became the all-time record holder of 3 points made. And tonight, the Knights are at it again. The 48 points is the most by any team in a quarter. Their 75 total here at halftime is the most at the half. The next record, 143 points set by the defending champion San Miguel Alab Pilipinas. So they have 75 right now. Mathematically, if you double that, that puts them right up there.
And you have to admire just the chemistry with this CLS Knights squad. They're really sharing the ball very well, moving that basketball from left to right, right to left, finding the best shot available, whether it's from the inside or that corner triple. And Douglas Herring has really been a good fit to this system of Coach Brian Rossum. He has 10 points to go along with his 10 assists, 3 out of 7 from the field, only 1 turnover, also has a steal to his name. And he and Wong Wei Long have really teamed up for this backcourt of the Knights, and they have powered the CLS Knights squad. And right now, look what looks to be another impending win, their 5th straight, if they're able to pull this off. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Brian Rossum sends his 5 starters back on the floor just to push the pedal a little more and try to make short work of this. And if they continue to have a 30-point advantage by the end of the third quarter, I wouldn't be surprised if he lets most of his starters stay on the bench. As we saw in Alab Pilipinas' game yesterday, PJ Ramos, who had 25 points in 3 quarters, did not play the entire 4th quarter because it was pretty much over by the end of 3.
And I talked about Douglas Herring and Wong Wei Long. You know, we talked about it before, but how important and how huge it is to have a point guard that unselfish, that willing to give up the basketball, and a world import in that too.
It's very important, especially when you have a former local MVP as well who accepts his role as more than not, or majority of the time, he's no longer the primary ball handler on this squad, but I think he has really fit in comfortably, and he's actually more comfortable taking those outside shots, spotting up for those outside shots, and then in transition, sometimes on occasion leading the break for his squad. So they've become an interchangeable duo. Sometimes it's Doug Herring leading that fast break, sometimes it's Wong Wei Long leading the fast break, or sometimes it's Wong Wei Long spotting up, and vice versa.
So for the Wolf Warriors, it's a 31-point lead. How do you even begin to cut this huge lead?
Well, it has to start on the defensive end. You have to make stops, force the CLS Knights to outside shots, avoid those easy baskets under the inside the paint from Daryl Watkins. Probably force them to outside shots, which you have to challenge. You cannot continue to give them open looks because they're shooting better than 52%. So you have to challenge those shots, and then you have to contest and get those rebounds, and hopefully have transition opportunities. And then on your offensive end of the floor, you have to execute. You cannot just rely on one-on-one plays coming from Mike Taylor or Kai Chen.
Third quarter is underway. Again, the last time these two teams met, it turned out to be a victory for the expansion team from China. And by the looks of the score here, it's a complete turnaround. They go underneath to Watkins. Jawato from deep. That is short. Jawato gets to miss. Swings it over to Wong Wei Long. He tries the three. That doesn't go.
And, little things like that. After that shot by Jawato, Soonhefe should have boxed him out instead of allowing Jawato another opportunity at the basket.
Taylor tries from deep, no go. Rebound by Soonhefe Feng. Nowhere to go. Chai Chen, step back three. That's good.
Despite that make, that was still a tough shot there from Chai Chen. And hopefully that gets them going here in the third quarter.
Wong Wei Long. We go to Jawato. The elbow. Jawato uses his speed. Creates an opening. Wong Wei Long. Long two. That one doesn't go. So a little bit of improvement from the defense of the Warriors.
That's right. They're preventing the penetration, preventing that straight line to the basket, and then getting that defensive rebound, not allowing Indonesia to get those easy putbacks. And then on this end of the floor, they're attacking the rim and drawing fouls.
So those are the recipes for trying to get back. Try to shut down the driving lanes and then go to the line on the other end.
So 4 straight points here from Chai Chen.
Chai Chen goes 2 for 2.
Averages about 18.3 points or 0.4 points per contest.
Watkins spins, layup, short. That's a so miss.
And that's the thing that they want to avoid, that easy spin to the baseline from Watkins, and then a turnover on this end of the floor.
Herring all the way.
Trying to get some for himself, says Doug Herring.
Patterson fouled on the spin. Douglas Herring shows us the speed, the hops. Foul on Wong Wei Long.
I believe that's the third personal. Oh, check that. Maybe the fourth personal.
That's right, that's the
on Wong
fourth.
Wei Long. So that's going to send Sandy Kurniawan into the game. Wong Wei Long exits with 8 points. And Shantez Patterson has slowly accumulated 14 points.
Here are the Knights on offense. Watkins. Quick ball movement by the Knights. Esho for 3. No go. Rebound to Watkins. Esho. That's good. Maxi Esho delivers.
Another offensive rebound. Another putback for the Knights.
So the Wolf Warriors are stopping the initial attack, but they can't give up those second chance opportunities.
You know, as the saying goes, possession does not stop unless you get the defensive rebound. There's going to be a foul, I believe, on Brandon Jawato.
So the Wolf Warriors troop to the line once again. Mike Taylor leaves that short.
Taylor so far is 3 out of 5 from the stripe. Wolf Warriors as a team, 8 out of 11. Lead is back up to 30 points. Mike Taylor has been one of the leading scorers. Actually, the leading scorer in his last 3 games. He's averaging 21 points per game. 2.3 steals for the Warriors.
Watkins! He tries a 3 and gets the 3. So everybody coming out to party for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. Patterson tries to counter. Misses. Herring with the rebound. Turnover for the Knights. Bad pass from Douglas Herring.
And there you see a 3-pointer on one end for Gerald Watkins, and then an easy on a stop on the other, but that's going to be another foul. So you like the attitude of Mike Taylor trying to take it strong to the hoop. It's going to send him to the foul line once again. As a team, the Wolf Warriors are shooting 7 of 20, or 35% from the 3-point line.
So first one for Mike Taylor is good. So that's one way to cut this mountain of a lead. Go to the free throw line. Stop the clock. Get some easy points. Mike Taylor unfazed by the crowd there. It's 2 for 2.
And one thing the Wolf Warriors can also do is to try to apply some pressure, possibly half court. Just to put a little more pressure on the ball handler so that it's not such a walk in the park just to bring the ball to their front court for the Knights.
Escher misses on that reverse. Here comes Taylor once again. They go to Leung. Jennings Leung underneath, no go. Sorry miss from Leung. Escher. Ooh. He had Herring there.
Yep, miscommunication there between Maxi Esho and Doug Herring. Only the 7th turnover for the Knights. We talked about how they've been able to take care of the basketball in the past 4 or 5 games.
Chai Cheng gets that to go. So the pace has significantly slowed down here in the early goings of the third.
But for the CLS Knights, they're just going to slow the ball down, slow the ball game down, try to milk the clock, because they know they're up big here in the third quarter.
Watkins all alone.
Not just poor defense there on the part of Chai Chen.
Taylor on the counter. Circus layup doesn't go. Herring. Kunyawan all alone. That's twice now open lane.
Again, nobody down in transition for the Wolf Warriors.
Back-to-back open, easy opportunities for the Knights.
And Maxi Esho is going to be called for the foul. And they have to be careful they don't get teed up. But again, if you're the Wolf Warriors, you just cannot be content just trading baskets, going to the free throw line, because the Knights are scoring easily on their end of the floor.
And if you're Coach Brian Lawson, you just want to tell your boys, stop fouling, stop setting them to the line. Taylor goes 1 for 2. Less than 6 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Still a 31-point lead for the Knights. Herring. Turnover. Patterson behind the back. Still has the ball. Goes up. Oh. Sorry miss.
Yeah, sorry miss there on the part of Patterson.
Alley-oop! Watkins finishes the play.
And that's a 4-point swing there. You miss on one end, you allow the opponent to score on the other. An ill-advised 3-point attempt there by their big man.
Going back to the last play. Everybody was expecting that jam from Watkins when Herring lifted the ball up. Beautiful play. Two world imports connecting.
And Wolf Warriors just standing around watching the CLS Knights move the ball around and getting points inside the paint.
Mike Taylor drills the three. Less than 5 minutes remaining. 92-60 for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. Esho left all alone in the corner. Rebound to Watkins. Esho! Slamajama!
Again, the offensive rebound leading to that slam by Maxi Esho, who continues to be aggressive.
Esho, that was Taylor settling for the three.
Another early 3-point attempt from the Wolf Warriors.
Esho steps back from the corner. Leaves that one short. Another offensive rebound. Jawato misses. Chai Chen from deep. Another short.
And it's just open court basketball right now for both squads.
And if you're the Knights, you gotta love this space. Nobody's playing defense. Why not? Watkins, jumper is good. And Watkins.
Just by the body language of the Wolf Warriors, they're so deflated here in the third quarter.
I think they just want to trade baskets.
Or worse, probably just get this game over and head back to China.
So they had the right idea in the first half of the third. They were aggressive attacking the hole. They got Wong Wei Long in foul trouble. And Esho has 3 fouls.
It does not get any easier here for the Wolf Warriors after this game. They're playing San Miguel Alab Pilipinas, the current #1 team in the league. That's going to be on Tuesday, the 29th, followed by back-to-back games against Mono Vampire.
Timeout on the floor, 96-60 for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. 3:41 remaining. Welcome back to Gor Jaya, where the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia are delivering on one heck of a performance. They have a 36-point lead over the visiting Wolf Warriors. Yoyo Sarmenta on the call, together with Marco Benitez, and it's been one hell of a night for the home team.
And what you have to give credit to this home crowd, despite the big advantage, they're still cheering on every possession and jeering at the visiting team. So living up to their billing as one of the most passionate fans here in the ABL. Chai Chen adds to his output, 17 points right now for the big man.
So the big guns of the Wolf Warriors are actually getting their numbers. Chai Chen, Mike Taylor, Trontes Patterson, but not really much of anything else.
Yeah, but the problem is they're getting their numbers here when they're down by about 34 points.
Kurinyawan misses. Mike Taylor on the run. Crossover from the corner. Misses. Offensive rebound. That's a good sign for the Wolf Warriors getting that miss. Ooh, that is an air ball from Yan.
Following up that offensive rebound with an ill-advised shot. Again, the supporting cast of the Wolf Warriors have not been able to step up in this game. You talk about Jenny Leung, Christian Tu.
Taylor, one man to beat. Douglas Herring, beautiful steal. Nugroho, all the way.
Easy pickings for Firman Nugroho. And both local bigs of Indonesia are already on the floor, Nugroho and Saroni.
That was Christian too on the drive. Herring fouled on that attempt. Now earlier, Douglas Herring with a beautiful steal. He read that perfectly. Douglas Herring, of course, one of the best perimeter defenders we have in the ABL.
Averages about 3 steals per ball game, if I'm not mistaken. There's that strong drive once again from Herring. He only has 10 field goal attempts, but he has 14, make that 15 points to go along with 12 assists and 2 steals. So he really has done a remarkable job facilitating for his squad.
So Douglas Herring actually leads the league in steals. Second is Trayvon Hughes by the Saigon Heat with 2.5 steals a game. Chai Chen misses on the putback. That is Saroni with a rebound. Shani Kunyawan, Nugroho, jumper, that's good!
Well, Firman Nugroho is having himself a night. If I'm not mistaken, 10 points already in this game.
Chai Chen, hook shot is good. 102 points now for the Knights. A minute and 43 remaining.
Yeah, Chai Chen getting his numbers.
Wow! Douglas Herring, the bang and the bucket.
And just like for most of the first half, that interior defense has been porous for the Wolf Warriors. Herring just getting inside the paint with little contest. And it draws the foul from the Wolf Warriors.
Jawato, you see waving his towel in front of the home team, home crowd rather. Herring completes the N1 play. Coming up on a minute and a half remaining in the third. We go to Yan. That's good. Yan Shu with the triple.
9th triple for the Wolf Warriors. That's the first for Yan.
Rojo. Oh, with the finish.
And again, another nice bounce pass there. Another assist for Doug Herring and another open drive for the CLS Knights.
Chai Chen, lefty, layup is good. So the Wolf Warriors are actually getting their points up on the scoreboard. The problem is they're letting the Knights do the same.
And we've pretty much been in garbage time here since the start of the third quarter.
Diet to Herring. Herring looks at the floor. They want Nugroho. Hook shot. That sky hook went in.
That would have brought the house down.
Air ball from Yan. Patterson is fouled for the layup. And you see the trust by Douglas Herring. Doesn't matter if you're Maxi Esho, Brandon Jawato. Doesn't matter if you're a bench player. He will give you that basketball.
That's a great point. As long as you have a nice opportunity, as long as you have an open high percentage shot, you can count on Doug Herring to feed you that basketball.
But this is what was missing with the Knights in their first couple of games. That big-bodied facilitator. It used to be all way long trying to get those assists.
Yeah. And in that game against the Wolf Warriors back in December, I believe Wong Wei Long was also injured, so he was not able to play. It was Arif Hidayat who had the primary point guard duty. So it's been a stark difference in terms of the way they play at this point of the season compared to then. And the Knights are riding on a potential 5-game winning streak. And are currently the hottest team in the ABL.
I believe there was a technical foul called on that last play. That's why Patterson shot 3 free throws. So under 30 seconds remaining.
It's pretty much been all CLS Knights.
Herring misses on that triple. Here's Yan to Taylor. Loses the basketball.
And they will hold for the last shot here in the third.
Under 10 seconds. Oh. We thought the ref was going to call a backcourt violation. No, a blocking foul called on Taylor. Yep, that was a technical foul earlier. That's why Patterson took that extra free throw.
Only the third team foul here for the Wolf Warriors. Looks like they're going to give it to Chai Chen. There's going to be a turnover.
So 5.4 remaining here in what has been a dominating performance by the Knights. Steal! Herring, crossover, layup! And that will end the third quarter. 107 points by the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. And only 73 points for the Wolf Warriors. It has been a dominating performance for the home team.
oleh ASEAN Basketball League. Ada yang tahu angkat tangan? Oke. Ya, ayo. Ada 2 pemain yang dinominasikan baju merah. Sebutkan 2 pemain itu siapa? Douglas Harry dengan Wolf Warriors. Betul. Congratulations.
Saya mau kasih yang bisa menjawab.
Ya,
Untuk penghargaan buat anak-anak Douglas Harry dan juga Wolf Warriors oleh kelompok tangan.
mereka dinominasikan kategori apa?
Benar dong?
Wolf Warriors pemain apa?
Lokal player.
Betul.
Satunya? Benar sekali langsung.
Yes.
Dari BTN. Selamat.
Wolf Warriors dinominasikan sebagai pemain lokal terbaik dan Douglas Harry sebagai best defensive player. Jadi jangan lupa untuk vote ya. Menuju aja langsung ke websitenya
Good evening and welcome back to Port
ASEANBasketballLeague.com.
Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia.
10 seconds.
It's been a splendid performance for the BTN CLS Knights Indonesia. As they have a 107-73 lead. Yoyo Sarmiento on the call together with Marco Benitez. And Marco, what have you seen so far through 3 quarters?
Well, just a tremendous offensive display here for the BTN CLS Knights, not only because of their field goal percentage and not only because of their shooting, but with the way they share the basketball, with the way they look for the best opportunity possible, and they've really shined here in the past 4 games, now going on 5.
And if you've just joined us, it was a 48-point first quarter for the Knights. That set the tone. Lingawan. Long ball doesn't go. Patterson finishes the layup.
It's currently a 30-point advantage here for the Knights. They've won the past 4 games by an average margin of 24 points. That just gives you an idea of how dominant they've been in this stretch.
No offense to the Wolf Warriors, but the Knights have beaten some really
Yeah.
formidable foes. Beautiful passing once again. Kinyawan misses on that three.
We talk about the likes of the Singapore Slingers, the Macau Black Bears, even the Formosa Dreamers. And they look to be adding the Wolf Warriors to that list.
You know, those 3 teams, the Black Bears, the Dreamers, and the Slingers, belong to the upper echelon of the standings.
Which the Knights will probably find themselves in with this impending victory. They will go up in the standings to 7-7. That's good for half a game behind 5th spot. And Chris Shentu, who has not found his game here.
So the Knights have Wong Weilong, Esho, Krunyawan, Toroni, and Hidayat, a mix of starters and bench players. Esho takes aim from deep. That's good! Relatively a quiet night for Esho, but when we say quiet, that's like a double-double, 20-10 for him. As Taylor finishes on that drive.
Relatively quiet, but he's already reached his scoring output. This just gives you an idea of how much offense we've seen from the Knights tonight.
Chai Chen, that was probably the easiest bucket he had all night, and Coach Brian Rossum wants to be a little cautious. Doesn't want this lead to go down.
And he doesn't want them to develop any bad habits, especially at this crucial stage of the tournament.
Timeout, under 8 minutes remaining, 110-83 for the Knights. .58 remaining, 110-83 lead by the Knights. Now, Mark, I got a question. If you're winning by, as you said, 24 points the last couple of games, what does it do about the confidence? But can it be a double-edged kind of thing where you gain too much confidence?
I think that's exactly correct. That's probably one of the reasons why Coach Brian Rossum called that timeout, wants to keep his team in focus, or their focus in check. You do not want to keep your foot or release your foot from the gas pedal and start developing bad habits, especially when you start playing away from home, because these wins that they've gotten have pretty much all come here in Gorkirtajaya. And the challenge is if you're able to translate this same type of effort, this same type of performance, especially when you go away or when you play away from home.
That is a very good point. The Knights are actually 1-5 away from this building. They have their last home game against the West Sports Malaysia Dragons on the 30th of January. That ends their 5-game homestand.
And especially in this type of field where it's very competitive, and that the rankings from 1 or from 2 through 6 can move within because of just a couple of games.
Shentu all alone gets the deuce. And to your point, as we've proven here in the 9th season of the ASEAN Basketball League, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, we've seen how even the West Sports Malaysia Dragons were able to defeat San Miguel Alab Pilipinas early in January, and then Alab Pilipinas getting some retribution last night. We've also seen how the Saigon Heat have moved up in the standings, defeating the powerhouse teams. And now the CLS Knights have made it known to the rest of the league that they're a team to watch and they're a team to contend with.
Watkins back on the floor and immediately gets a bucket to go.
Takes it right to the chest of Chai Chen.
Here's Yan. Takes it upon himself. They go to the corner to Shentu. Shentu, oh! Rejected by Herring.
It looks like Herring got hurt on that sequence, but you see Doug Herring still playing defense despite being up this big and with 6:13 remaining. And you just have to love the effort if you're Coach Rossum.
Herring. Oh, Watkins trying to be a little too playful on that last sequence.
So now the question is, if you're Coach Brian Rossum, when do you pull your starters out of the game just to keep them away from injury.
So I believe it's a 27-point lead. As turnover from the Wolf Warriors.
That has been the story of the game for the Wolf Warriors.
Bullet pass. Jawato. Wong Wei Long. All alone for three. Hits the three.
And that's almost automatic for the record holder in terms of number of three-pointers made here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Wong Wei Long has been shooting the lights out as Esho delivers on that layup.
Crowd still chanting defense.
They love the Knights here in Gorkertajaya. It's Yan trying to answer with his own three. Here's Herring. To Esho from three. Misses. Wong Wei Long nearly got the offensive rebound. But here's Patterson. Muscles his way inside. Taylor from the corner. That's good.
Mike Taylor adding to his output. 26 points right now. You have to remember, the Wolf Warriors are missing the services of Mike Bell, who is actually one of the vital cogs for this team. Bell averages about 16.5 points per game.
Jawato adds to its total. A career performance from Brandon Jawato. He has 22 points.
And a very efficient outing for him, shooting 60% from the field.
So 4 and 15 remaining. Alley-oop. Jawato to Herring.
Brandon Jawato returning the favor to Doug Herring, who has been the facilitator for a lot of Jawato's baskets tonight.
As Patterson knocks down that three ball.
Shantez Patterson will surpass his 20-point output in his debut here in the ABL.
Watkins bobbles up that basketball. So the Wolf Warriors have in the next 4 games against only 2 opponents. Twice against San Miguel Alab Pilipinas and twice against a finalist in Mono Vampire Basketball Club. So that's, I don't care about the record of Mono, but Mono is still Mono.
Mono is still a formidable team, and with Malcolm White getting himself accustomed to the system of Coach Doug Marty and Mike Singletary back, as well as Jason Brickman starting to become aggressive, you can be sure Mono Vampire will try to make a late push here in the regular season.
Wong Wei Long, another three. Yes, sir.
Raining threes for Wong Wei Long. 4 triples in the game, and all 5 starters for the Knights are already in double figures.
And the crowd applauding the effort of the Knights. We take a timeout with 2:57 remaining. So the Knights are less than 3 minutes away for their 5th straight victory, 4 of which coming in this very floor at Gorkertajaya.
Coach Brian Rosum still keeping Maxi Esho and Jared Watkins in the game, but right now already shifting to a zone defense.
And for the opposition, Mike Taylor and Shantez Patterson have taken a seat, and they'll be done for the night as Esho goes up and doesn't get the N1 to go.
Maxi Esho with 26 points. He and Darryl Watkins are the leading scorers for the Knights. Esho at 10 of 18 from the field. Watkins at 12 of 16. And the Knights have been perfect from the free throw line all game long. And we just jinxed it. Or I just jinxed it.
Esho misses. Chai Chen. Pass in the corner, misses. Here comes Hidayat. Is Maxi Esho an MVP? I know it's midway through the season. We just had our mid-season awards.
Oh, definitely he's one of the leading contenders for import MVP this season. This guy is straight out balling. 23 points per game, 3.6 assists per game, 9 rebounds, 1.6 steals, playing about 36 minutes and shooting 42% from the three-point line. I would think possibly Ronaldo Balkman, Anthony Tucker as well are some of the contenders for that award.
And if the Knights can keep this going, Esho will definitely remain in that conversation. The Knights also have a local MVP nominee in Wong Wei Long.
Yeah.
He's, as we've mentioned before the start of this coverage, he's been playing a heck of a season so far.
And as we've checked, his numbers are actually better than his numbers when he won those back-to-back local MVP awards. So strong case for Wong Wei Long.
And let's not forget Douglas Herring, the league leader in steals. Of course, he's also a nominee for Defensive Player of the Year.
The addition of Doug Herring and Darryl Watkins have really been a shot to the arm of this CLS Knight squad. That's a strong drive there.
Talked about the shot to the arm. You could sense from the first guy to the last guy, see that overall confidence really for the Knights.
And sometimes all it takes is the right addition to your team from a team that was looking to be at the bottom half of the standings or bottom third of the standings. You add 2 key players who really fit well to your squad or to your system, and immediately you surge up the standings. Same is the case with the Dreamers. Coming from last season, you add a perfect mix of imports. You talk about Malcolm Miller, Will Artino, and Tevin Glass, and you turn that franchise around from a 1-19 squad. Right now, one of the top 3 teams in the league.
Ched did not appreciate, I think that was Saroni. He got it tangled up a bit. And this is not what you want to see when the score reads 130 to 102, a 28-point lead.
I know for Chai Chen, that's just a lot of frustration, especially after his team's performance here tonight.
So a mild scuffle there, nothing more. Hopefully nothing more.
If you're Chai Chen, since you're such an integral part of this squad, you do not want to escalate any of that extracurricular activity, possibly even get suspended.
Hard foul. That was Bascoro, I think. So 1:10 remaining. So the Knights will not get that 143-point total, which is the record for most points by an ABL team set by the defending champion San Miguel Alab Pilipinas.
Well, this game already in the bag as early as midway through the third quarter. And another impressive performance by the Knights.
So when you get scores like this, 130, 143, it's either it's a blowout or a really close game that needed overtime.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And we have the former.
So the refs trying to play this tight in the last 2 minutes. They don't want things to escalate between these two third stringers.
But you know, every time you get role players or third stringers on the floor, they're just trying to make the most of whatever action they see. So they're just leaving it out there on the floor.
You're exactly right. I don't think they could care less if it's a 30-point game. You know?
This is crunch time for them. And there you see Sandy Corniawan and number 12, Chesit Chun, getting it mixed up.
So Che, I think Saronia really, they fouled the foul call on Corniawan, but really we see the close-up there on Saroni. He and Che have been going at it.
And you could read the word or read the lips of Coach Matt Skillman saying, "I don't want to fight," or "I don't want to fight."
You gotta appreciate the crowd. Still jeering, still jawing at the opposing team.
Oh, the crowd here in Gorkert Jaya just loving this sort of action. It's probably the most excitement they're getting since halftime.
So Jennings Young is still on the floor. He's a starter, and maybe I think that's a strategy to get his confidence going. He has 0 points so far, and he's a starter.
That's one of the local players who have been absent here for the Wolf Warriors. They're really going to need to step their game up this second half of the regular season.
The crowd appreciating the effort of the BTN CLS Knights. They'll come away with their 5th straight win, 4th in this home floor. Under 20 seconds, and we're just about done here. A standing ovation here in Gorkert Jaya. The Red Hot Knights remain hot. They're a team to be reckoned with here in the 9th season of the ASEAN Basketball League. And that's all she wrote here in Gorkert Jaya. 132 to 104 against the Wolf Warriors.
Again, another impressive performance. Wire-to-wire victory here for the BTN CLS Knights.
The Knights improved to 7-7. Again, have won their 5th straight. The Wolf Warriors have lost their 5th straight. They now own a 1-13 record. Looking at the Knights, slowly but surely, they're gaining ground on those teams like Macau, Singapore, Hong Kong, Formosa. Don't look now, the Knights are coming.
And the next 2 games for them against the Westport's Malaysia Dragons, definitely very winnable. The game on the 30th will still be played here in Gorkert Jaya, and then they travel over to Kuala Lumpur for their matchup on the 1st of February, also against the Westport's Malaysia Dragons.
Max Esho led the way with 27 points and 10 rebounds. Career high performance from Brandon Jawato, 22 points. But really, it was a team effort for the Knights.
You have 4 players scoring 20 points or more, 22 points or more, led by Esho's 27, Jawato has 22, Herring has 23 to go along with 15 assists, and Daryl Watkins 26 points, 75% from the field to go along with a monster 18 rebounds.
And for the Wolf Warriors, Mike Taylor, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Sour part of his game though was 6 turnovers. Chantes Badisha with 21. And really, how did the Knights get this one, Marco?
Well, it all started out, in the first quarter where they really exploded for 48 points. And then they held the Wolf Warriors to below 20 points in that quarter. And then just kept pouring it on in that second quarter and even in the third.
As we go to our courtside reporter, we have a report there. Just waiting on that. There we go.
All right, guys, back with me, Dion Edward from the sideline with Brandon Jawado. A solid performance from you, 22 points, especially at the half, the first and the second quarter. What is in your mind that time? What is in your mind?
I just followed the game plan. Coach told me to run as soon as we got the rebound, and my teammates were looking for me, so I was able to run and get easy layups and knock out open shots.
And actually, we see that you have a lot of fun playing today, especially when on the fast break, and then you do the mailman celebration.
Yeah,
Can
man.
you
I mean,
explain
I'm
about
just, I just thank God for all my blessings out here and being surrounded by a great group of guys, and it just feels good to win.
that? All right, this is like fourth time in a row we win at home. We still have one more game. So what is in your mind for that final game?
Just get back to the drawing board and get back to practice and keep following coach's game plan and staying together as a team and keep working hard.
All right.
Each and every day. Yeah.
Last but not least, we want to see you dance. Do the celebration dance, Brandon. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Thank you, Wani.
Yay!
And if you're Brandon Jawada, you can dance all you want. That was a heck of a performance for him. Thank you for that report. And, going back to your point earlier, the 48 points, that is an ABL record for most points in a quarter, which he also set the record at halftime at 75 points. And for the Wolf Warriors, it was just a bad game right from the start.
And Brandon Jawato putting on a show on that interview, just like he did in that first quarter. I believe he had 17 points in the first quarter, nearly tying his career high in just one quarter alone. Really set the tone for the BTN CLS Knights and the rest of his teammates, picking it up from where he left off. Talk about Max Yesho, talk about Daryl Watkins, also Wong Wei Long, 4 triples in the game. And of course, Doug Herring really setting the tone, facilitating for his squad. For me, what is most impressive, 2 stats, 70 points inside the paint, showing how aggressive they were going to the basket, and 33 fast break points compared to just 10 for the Wolf Warriors.
70 whopping points in the paint. So the Knights have proven they can kill you from the outside or from the inside. And for the Wolf Warriors, any positives, I know it's a blowout, any positives you can take away, you can carry all to China.
Well, for the Wolf Warriors, again, you have to take into account the absence of Mike Bell because he's really a big part of this squad. Mike Taylor, Shantez Patterson were able to get their numbers, but they have to get their numbers early on. They have to be aggressive early on, and they cannot allow themselves, especially because of the lack of depth in terms of their bench, they cannot allow themselves to get into that big of a hole because it's going to be hard to come back from it. So hopefully they get to draw some positives from this game and come out with better effort in their succeeding ones.
And you're finally here in Gorkar Tajaya, 132 to 104. The Knights have won their 5th straight. And this is your Sarmento, and for my partner Marco Benitez, this is your coverage of the 9th season of the ASEAN Basketball League. Rise to greatness. Good night, everybody.